Hey, what's up? Welcome to Degen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of Fisker Automotive, ticker symbol FSR. And here we are looking on the weekly time frame. Over the course of the past week, Fisker is down just over 18%, closing the week at a price of 48.25 cents, being down nearly 34% on Friday after they reported earnings on February 29th in the after hours. And so I unfortunately was at work when they reported earnings, so I could not stream it. And I actually have not listened to them. And so if you guys are interested in listening to the earnings call with me, I'd be happy to do a special stream Sunday evening going over listening to a recording of their earnings call. So if you guys are interested, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to do that. But for this video, I'm really just going to focus on the chart and the technicals. And I do want to note too that I was thinking about doing a video on Friday. But if I had put that video out, I would have suggested that it looked like a falling knife, good to approach with caution. But now after looking at the chart, I actually feel a little more convinced that there's a bottom that has been formed here at a price of 37.7 cents. And that's based on two things that I just find so beautiful based around Fibonacci retracements. I've been doing them a lot on the channel, and I really look forward to showing you this on the chart on the daily time frame, but did want to start with showing the weekly candles and just how red it has been lately. I do think that the bottom might be in sight, but of course it could always go lower, so do prepare for that. But yeah, so now I'm just going to switch over to the daily time frame. As you can see, there's this big drop here. Actually, we do have a gap down that filling it would be getting to a price of, let's see, 71.5 cents, which was the low on February 29th before earnings were reported, and we did see this gap down. And now I'm just going to throw up drawings that I've done. And also, I do want to note one thing. In last week's video, I had pointed out this, what was then yellow, now orange line here, the 1618 extension from this retracement. I had mentioned that I picked up some shares at 59 cents, but I actually realized I had placed the order at 60 cents because I saw this at 59.11 cents. In case we didn't hit that level, I wanted the order to be filled. And so I just wanted to note that because that is going to come up again with another extension that I just think is like mind-blowingly insane, beautiful. And so I do think that, it gives me a lot of hope. I hope it gives you some hope when you do see it. But before I get into that, I did want to point out that following last week's video, I had mentioned that, I thought price would be going up into earnings. Following earnings is what I was hoping, but over the course of the past week, we did see all of these candles moving up higher and actually moving into resistance. And so one thing that is a good rule of thumb, whenever you see price moving up into resistance before earnings or any event, you don't want to be buying into resistance. You want to buy at support. And so at this point, we were at resistance. And so it did suggest that a drop could happen following earnings. And with that, we do see this hammer candle following this up move. That does suggest that there aren't that many buyers up here. And also following the 28th, on the 29th, we did see what looks like a reversal doji being red, no buyers stepping in above this level, really above this volume shelf that we see. And so that did suggest weakness. And so it's really, not too surprising that we saw a drop following earnings. However, I did not expect the drop to be this large. But I did want to point out that when a stock price either moves up or down, if it's moving into resistance, it's more likely to fall after the earnings call. And if it's moving to support, it's more likely to bounce after the earnings call. So just something to keep in mind for future earnings calls. And so now I'm just going to throw the drawings back up. and just want to go over some of the levels that do stand out. I did reduce them from before because really, now that we're trading below 75 cents, right around this purple line, there's a lot of resistance that we need to get up to that level. And so I wanted to point some of those lines out here. And so one of them is the previous low, which was 52 cents. And I had actually exchanged with one of you in the comments about, potentially, dip buying, whether at 52 cents or lower, is there an opportunity before earnings? And, it's really tough to say. And so now, it does look like we are lower than that. So we did get a dip buying opportunity. We did see the candle being green on Friday. So opening at a price of 42.5 cents, but then closing at a price of 48.25 cents. So that is good. That price did move up over the course of the day. However, we are still below 52 cents. That does seem like it is going to be notable resistance. If we do throw that volume profile back up, we do see consolidation there, especially with the wick from Friday overlapping with that. There's even more resistance there. Clearly, we need to be getting back above 52 cents and closing above that level, not wicking above it and closing below. And then moving higher than that, the high on Friday was 58 cents. So that is going to be a key level to be closing above. We need to reclaim that with strength, getting back above it. And just above that is that 618 extension in orange that I had mentioned at 59.11 cents, another level to pay attention to. And then from this down retracement here, the 236 is at a price of 61.98 cents, or right around 62 cents. And then just above that is the 382 at 68.16 cents. And so beyond that, we really get to the right around 75-cent level. That is going to be very key resistance, having acted as a lot of support over here, and then, resistance here before earnings. And so now you just have to think about it as any buyers that were here, wanted to, offload shares, but then they had the high hopes of price going up following earnings, and then it dipped down. And so now, any buyers from not only here, but also here may very well want to offload shares when price gets back up to here. So I do think it's going to be very, very significant resistance moving forward. And so the levels that do coincide with right around 75 cents, they really range from 72.55 cents, which was the low on January 25th, and then they go up to, basically the purple line at 74.67 cents. So just something to keep in mind there. And so one thing that I do want to point out before I throw up another retracement and an extension, I did want to point out kind of what I did around earnings. And so for me, I wanted to be cautious of there being a falling knife. I didn't want to catch it. I didn't want to cut myself trying to catch it. And so, but I also wanted to take advantage of buying a dip if there was one. And so what I did is I placed an order and I just waited, let it fill if it did. And so I want to show you what I did based on, really just kind of coincidence. So I saw price coming down in the after hours, and, I just had $43 extra in my account. Wasn't placed on anything. So, I had that amount of money to move. And I can place a minimum of 100 share order for Fisker because it's below $1. And so what I did is I was just like, well, if it drops to 43 cents, my order will be filled. I'll just place one there. And so I did that. And here it looks like we did have a low for this candle of 45.26 cents. And I was thinking, it's not going to get filled, but I'll just place it there. But then if we look at the after hours pricing, we can see that these two candles had wick lows of 43 cents for both of them. So my order was filled and I felt like a genius. But then in the pre-market into the open, we did see price dip lower down to a low of 37.7 cents. But I was not thinking, I need to buy the dip more. I need to jump into that because I thought that we might be seeing a falling knife. And I didn't want to just continue to buy a dip within a dip. And so I put on the brakes. So that's what I did. And I feel good about that. If it does return to 37.7 cents, I can reevaluate. But right now, I do have the brakes on. And so, just flipping back to the daily time frame, I wanted to do one extension and another retracement that I think gives me some confidence that we have put in a bottom. And so here, if I do look at this orange retracement here, I can just add, like I did here with the 1618 extension, I can add a 2618 extension to that. So I'm just going to do that here just by clicking this button, and look at that. That to me is pretty remarkable that it lands at 37.36 cents, just below the low that we saw of 37.7 cents. So to me, that's mind-blowing, and it really just strikes me as just how beautiful this Fibonacci retracement is, these ratios, these percentages, and how these patterns are repeated. And so I just find it, just fascinating that it seems to line up almost perfectly with the low that we saw. And also, I do want to note that, as I had mentioned, my order was filled at 60 cents here because I didn't know that 59 cents would be hit because the Fibonacci level was just above 59 cents. And so here we have it at just above 37 cents, and we got a wick to just above that level. So, waiting for 37 cents probably wouldn't have been filled, as we see it didn't. But waiting for 38 cents, that would have been a key level. And so that is something that, when exploring the charts on like a daily basis, that is something that could have been done. I regret not doing it in last week's video, but I really didn't expect price to be going this much lower. But then also, leading up to earnings, or actually, just before earnings, one thing that could have been done is another Fibonacci retracement from the low here at 52 cents going up to the high here at 76 cents. And so from that, mind-blowingly, we can see that the 1618 extension from that is at a price of 37.17 cents. So right around that 38 cent level. And so I feel like, it's just pretty remarkable that this low that we saw was more or less predicted by these two extensions, having come from different levels, both of them having 52 cents in them, but then both going to different highs. And so, I just find that really remarkable. And so for me, that gives me a little bit of confidence that the bottom is in right around 38 cents. And also, maybe this is hopium because it doesn't always work out. But as we can see, here we did have bullish divergence that led to an up move. Here we also do see a lower low in the stock price. However, the RSI is a higher low. And so that is, again, bullish divergence. However, we have not confirmed that this is a higher low. We need to see an uptick in the RSI. So if on Monday we do see an up move in the stock price, that could coincide with confirming bullish divergence, and we could start to see moves upwards towards filling this gap here at a low of 71.5 cents. And so, I'm feeling like this is a good dip buying opportunity, but I'm also, being cautious, thinking that it could go a lot lower, potentially, to this downtrending white line. But, for me, what I would do, I have not placed any orders yet, but I could see, let's see, the open price from Friday at 42.5 cents. Maybe that's a good dip buying level, or maybe 38 cents is a good dip buying level. But for me, I like to place orders and forget about them. If they get filled, great. If not, the price is going up, so that's great too. But yeah, moving forward, it's really tough to say. But, I am feeling more confident after the earnings report, after this drop. And so, I hope you are too. And if you want to tune in for a live stream of their earnings call, we could watch that together tomorrow. So let me know in the comments if you do want to tune in for that. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching.